everyone. I am so happy right now because y'all probably know this incredible author. We've read her for the Cozy Mystery Book Club. We have Traci Hall, aka part of the writing duo Tracy Wilton, and she is just a phenomenal cozy mystery writer. If her books are not already on your TBR, please add them because they are so much fun. So if you love cozies, please add this woman to your list. You will not regret it. And I'm so happy that she's taking time out of her BookTube experience to chat with us today. So again, I'm fangirling at her because I really loved Murder in a Scottish Shire. Like, it made me happy. I enjoyed reading it. I kind of fell into that fun, cozy space, which is exactly what you want. And so I really am hoping that people, if they haven't read that book, they pick it up. But I'm also fascinated by you because you're writing more than one cozy mystery and you have more than one pen name. So we have to ask and clarify for people who want to know, because of the pen name, how many cozy mystery series do you have and where can we find them?
All right, Traci Hall is, I write the Scottish Shire series as Traci Hall. So I'm also as Traci Wilton, and Patrice retired, and she retired for the book before this one was Mrs. Morris and the Pot of Gold.
Yes.
And that was her last book. And so but she read this, like she made, and so the book after this one, Mrs. Morris and the Wolfman, she read and approved, you know.
So is this the last one? Or?
No.
Okay, I was about to get very emotional for a second.
We need our Charlene fix, and I would have Minnie at my house in a heartbeat to be making me breakfast.
Again, you kind of got me nervous there, but the books. You're still going to be Traci Wilton for the rest of the series?
Yes, and so I know that there will be 10 books to, this is author secret. This is, you can.
So this is a full-on behind the scenes,
behind the scenes, yeah. You guys can know, but nobody else. There will be 10 in the series total, and like I said, Patrice has, she reads them to make sure that they've got, you know, the flair that we brought it in together. Mm-hmm. And it didn't change too much with the, because like I said, I am a plotter, and and I would do that for our books because she is a pantser. And so, I mean, we made a good team that way for sure, but that part was, and I just had to remember because she was very much lighter in tone, and so I made sure to, like, Jack would be a certain way, and
I mean, that was going to be one of my questions because it's different to have writing duos, because at first I didn't know that Traci Wilton was two different people. I didn't realize that you had the pen name, and so I learned over time, of course, and then I had to read the books and read her entire backlist. I didn't know it was two separate people because it sounded like one voice, one author voice. I mean, yes, they're the different character voices, but in regards to the writing style, it didn't feel disjointed anywhere. Yeah. There wasn't anything where I'm like, oh, wait a second, that's jarring in conjunction with this scene or something. Everything just flowed nicely. So it never even occurred to me to think it was two different people writing as one.
Thank you very much, because we worked so hard at it that, like, I would do the plot, she would start with chapter 1, and then I would write chapter 2. And then the more that we did the books, it just was like a flow. And then we would switch. And so for round 2, I would do chapter 1, she would do chapter 2. And by the end of the book, it really was truly a meld of voices. And we did 6 drafts, you know, minimum.
Wow. So, yeah. How did you two partner up?
Oh, so I used to live, when I came from, where did I come from? Spokane, Washington. And I moved to Jupiter, Florida, and she was living in Palm Beach at the time. And our writers group, we had a writers group.
Wow. So you actually got to know each other
very well.
I was going to say offline, because now everything is virtual.
Yeah.
Did you actually write sitting next to each other?
We never really did that, but at the time that we met, we were critique partners, and you have to trust someone to, you know, have your baby and know that they have the best interests at heart. So we had a very solid friendship and understanding of one another's books. Also, I'm a freelance editor, and so I was also editing her other stuff. So there's, again, that level of trust that you have with someone when they're with your work. So.
Oh, that's so lovely that you were able to have that relationship grow and evolve, and oh, I love that story.
She's just always just been like sister of my heart.
Oh,
yeah. So
I mean, especially because you moved somewhere, you kind of found not your soulmate, but your soul friend.
yes,
That's awesome.
Ladies that I was emailing before that you answered the door. They actually are my other group of people. They're soul people. You just know one another. You help one another. You want the best for each other. Friendships are important.
Well, that's the other thing too. When it comes to publishing, sometimes I think it gives the impression of being cutthroat or very competitive, and the fact that there is camaraderie and you have that friendship and they're genuinely rooting for you. None of this like, oh well, to your face I'm going to be rooting for you, but behind your back, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Oh, all the red pen marks. 1-star review on Goodreads. And you never know what's going on behind the scenes sometimes. And so to have those friendships is just so lovely and inspiring. It like gives me so much hope.
Yes, yeah. Heather Graham is amazing, and
Yeah.
she's very, very genuine and so generous. If she, if she thinks that she can do anything to be able to give a shout out for a fellow writer, she 100% does. And she was the founding mother of Florida romance writers, and so she's kind of in that friend group in Fort Lauderdale. So
Well, so you would just one of my questions that I had written down was you do write in different genres. You started in romance. How did you transition to writing cozies, or do you still try and juggle the two of I live in the world of romance and I live in the world of mysteries?
Well, I think that I have an indie romance series, the By the Sea series, and so but I'm down to one book, and honestly I'm fine. I'm good. I did a lot of romance already. I'm happy to move on from romance.
But like I met my quota.
I don't have to. I don't have to write a sex scene again. I am like just be so.
You'll find the dead body in your cozy mystery instead. No, none of this behind closed doors. Oh no, we're finding like the murder weapon now.
That's right. And these days I find it more interesting. Part A, slot C, we're fine. No, I really am truly. What I love about the crossover from the romance books, and I wrote young adult books as well.
Yeah.
But it's about the family. It's about the caring, and with the cozy mysteries, I feel like that world building is just so, because you want people to follow. You want people to say, "I know Paisley." If I was in there and I stopped into Cashmere Crush, I would totally say hi to her.
That was something that I saw a lot of in regards to the comments during the YouTube live stream. People really liked her as a heroine, as our character, and every so often people will have a divisive main character. Oh, she can be the unlikable heroine, or oh, I like her, but I wouldn't want to be her friend off the page or something. So you have comments that posted because everyone has different reading opinions, but I think everyone was in unison that they loved your main character because she's so likable. You were rooting for her from the get-go.
Yeah.
And there's something so endearing about that. And I'm kind of curious how you can create a character that does have that emotional tug at your reader heartstrings, because that's not necessarily easy to do, but you did it. And the readers clearly all had very similar responses to her.
I love it. That makes me, as the author of Paisley, makes me so happy, because when I sit down to kind of start a main character, it's like, I know she needs to be somebody that people can relate to.
Yeah.
And a single mom, I mean, my God. And I have people that comment and they're like, I'm so worried about Paisley's love life. Is she going to get a love life? Well, no. I won't give any spoilers.
Well, I also appreciated the fact that that wasn't one of the focal points for her narrative, at least especially in book 1. I mean,
still not at book 6, because that's not what it's about.
Well, when you said someday, I was like, we're leaving the door open for her to have the love life.
Someday.
But that's such a driving force in so many cozy mysteries.
And I think that in the Mrs. Morris series, like Sam as the hunky detective, I mean,
he is very
come on.
He is on my book boyfriend list. So my fictional men, he's one of them. But I thought it was different to not see that at all in book 1. And for some reason, that just really struck me in the best of ways.
Oh, good.
Because it was so different, because there's always the introduction of the love interest, or you have that return to hometown and the high school crush is all of a sudden there and he's good looking now, or he's noticing her for the first time. I just love the fact that the man in her life was the son. It's very hard to write children, but you nailed the childlike voice, and he was just all. I'm like, I don't have people like, I'm gonna adopt you.
Oh, that also came up too. They're like, does Brody ever need a home? He's just is so sweet. He just is he's a cool kid. And I had a house full of teenagers.
Yeah.
Like I have 2 of my own, and then we just literally were like that house on the block behind the high school. My kids were, well, Brighton was in video games, and Destiny was in the band, and she did flag, and so
Yeah.
we just always just had kids around.
You were the fun house.
Yeah. We got into some trouble with the parents, but we still were the fun house.
I was gonna say though, it's kind of helped you out though, because now you have the teenage voice of, oh, I remember they use this phrase. I know that this is one of the ways they do this. I remember, I think it was one of those extras for Big Hero 6. Again, I'm a Disney person, Pixar. And the guy was talking about how his nephew used his foot to move one of the chairs to sit down. And he said he was watching the nephew, and otherwise he never would have noticed something like that.
Yeah.
It seems like that's exactly what you did with these character traits.
Yeah. Hey, well, thank you so much for noticing.
But how do you approach writing these characters? So you're a plotter. Do you have a celebrity photo, or do you kind of sketch them out? Do you write down the adjectives you want people to think of when Paisley comes to mind? Because again, she's so multidimensional. It blows my mind of how well written she is. Because sometimes characters fall flat, but that is not Paisley. or any of your other characters. I'm just gonna throw that out there. All of her characters are multidimensional.
Thank you. It just means so much to me to hear you say that. Because it's
well deserved praise.
So I start off with like I know,
Yeah.
and this would be really cool if it happened someday. If we had if you ever had the movie for the Scottish Shire series, I know that Paisley would be played by Emma Stone.
Interesting.
And with the red hair and the beautiful blue eyes, and that's how I remembered Paisley's birthday. She has the same birthday as Emma Stone.
So you're a big Emma Stone fan.
I love her.
I was like, so we've seen her movies a time or two.
Yeah. And for Grandpa, I think that Pierce Brosnan would make a great Grandpa.
I like that casting.
Yeah. And Brody is more of like my cousin Craig was at that age, like kind of with the redder hair and the big eyes and stuff. So he's kind of in my mind. He's now 50 years old. So just boyhood Craig.
But it's still sweet that you have the sort of image in your mind, because that must make it easier for descriptions.
Yes.
For the most part, she'll have the bangs off to the side. She'll have certain hairstyles and ways that she'll flip the hair. I was gonna say, I'm an Emma Stone fan, so I'm just putting that out there. But it's one of those. Must make it a little easier to envision the action.
Yes, exactly. I know her. Like she would be someone I'd be able to say, yes, no, she would never do that. Of course not. She would never do that. And I am a big fan of doing the behind the scene, like character for myself to be able to have the character interview at the beginning. By now, I know what Charlene is, and I know, like for Rain and in Murder at an Irish Castle that I read is Ellie Brannigan. I have Rain McGrath and the cousin that she has that's like oil and water, just whatever. And when I wrote her, I thought her name was Ciara, but it turns out from the narrator, it's actually Kira.
Oh, really?
So that's been something in my mind.
Oh, interesting.
I've had to kind of, Kira, that's not Ciara, Kira.
The name Siobhan is one of those when you see it spelled versus pronounced.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
That can be one of those moments of, oh, sorry.
Oops.
Siobhan.
Yeah. So in my mind, I just need to change it. But so for their dynamic, I watched The Parent Trap with Haley Mills. And so not the Lindsay Lohan.
You're going for the original.
Yeah, I'm going for the original. And that they need each other.
Yeah.
And so because I was only offered one book, and again, between us, it was just the one book at the time. And it was supposedly going to be a series, but I didn't have that official okay yet. So I had to write it in a way where it was satisfying enough of an ending, but people were not. I did kind of get a couple dings on that. They're like, is it a series or not a series?
That's really hard though, because I feel as if that's putting pressure on the writer, because it's your name on the book and people are going to hold you responsible.
Yeah.
And so when the publisher's dangling like that, it's very difficult to figure out what can I leave open-ended for the threads for future books, but also how can I tie this nicely to satisfy the, okay, the end now, close book.
Yeah. Because we need that. We need that closure. So it was I hope I did it okay. Most
Yeah.
people were okay with it, but I did have a couple that were like,
Oh.
yeah.
Now that you know that there's a book 2, how long is it going to take you to write this? Because you have books coming, and I mean, you are really moving along when it comes to books. When you look up this woman's backlist, you're just going to keep scrolling and scrolling, and you're just going to be blown away by the number of titles under her name. It's mind blowing because people will struggle to write one novel a year, and you're cranking out the titles. So
Again, I was so blessed in my mentors because they were like, this is what you want, this is what you work toward, and you just keep taking that next step.
Yeah.
So, and being able to find the cozy mystery was the perfect venue for me, because I've written medieval romance, I've written YA coming of age, I've got a YA paranormal series, I've got all kinds of stuff, but what I love are the cozy mysteries.
Oh, so is this something that you had kind of been thinking about writing for some time and then had the opportunity, or was this, oh, I just read this book and this is my subgenre?
No, actually my agent was the one that said, hey, what do you think about writing a cozy? And I was like, sure, I'll write anything.
I'm open-minded.
And because for me it's about the character and the world building, which are my favorite things. I don't care what genre it is, so I'll write anything.
Like, as long as it's a good story,
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a pass. I am curious, how many active cozy mystery series are you currently working on? How many cozies do you have? Because
Are you ready for the true answer?
I would love to know the true answer.
Okay, you're ready. I actually am shopping. So besides these 3, so I'm shopping. I don't want to say the name of the title.
You don't have to.
Okay, but
we're just going to say there's an unnamed cozy mystery project.
yes. Well, there's 2 of them, but the one that I would really like to be
Two.
able
There are 2
There are
works in
2.
progress.
There are 2, and the one that I really like, one of them is it would take place in the Key West, and it takes place as an like a dolphin research center, but
Oh,
it's
wow.
sea turtles. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
It's of my heart. It would be totally a Hart series. And for the cozy aspect, I was watching actually old Flipper episodes, and so anyways,
I just went to
it's out there.
SeaWorld,
It's
so
out there,
like this is right up my alley. I love animals, and I did the whale watching. I mean, I came here early, so everything I did was kind of animal related. So I'm going, tell me more about the sea turtle.
Yeah. I love them. I absolutely love them, and living on the coast of Florida, it's my daughter-in-law from Peru.
Yeah.
Actually, they got video of their place where they live in Hope Sound
Wow.
of one of the turtles coming up and laying eggs. Yeah, so that was pretty special.
Sounds like you have a lot on your plate, though.
I love it. So, and the supernatural one takes place in San Diego, and this character, I love this character. I love her so freaking much, and I can see her. She's so clear to me.
Yeah.
She just is so clear to me, and she sees ghosts, and she's an empath, and she solves a mystery at the Whaley House, actually. So
Oh, you really?
and I love ghosts. I will go any town that we're at. I'm like, when's the ghost tour?
I did the ghost tour. I did the ghost bus. His name was Cowboy Pete. He was the ghost of somebody at some point, and it was really a lot of fun. And we did the Whaley House. That place is very, very creepy and eerie.
I love it. And I could totally see like living there. Like, it's beautiful.
You like the Whaley House?
I love it. Oh my gosh, I love the history. I love everything about it.
It's so scary though. We got the suicide. Well, she tried to kill herself 2 or 3 times. Before
Yeah.
she succeeded.
Poor
Yeah.
Violet, but then
You know,
finally offed herself in the
I was
house.
gonna say, this is the history you love. It's scary to me. I was like, she needed to be in a straitjacket with medication. She needed help. But then you had the little kid who ingested poison by accident.
Well, it was an accident.
Still, like, poison just lying around your floor.
Yeah, that is true. It was a different time.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, he's playing with the poison rattle. That's normal.
That's okay.
So now I'm curious. Now I'm going, this book has to be published because now I need to read it because I have context of firsthand experience going to this house. I'm invested. I am
All
invested.
right, well then let's lift that up to the heavens because I'm ready.
It's like a secret. Putting it out in the universe.
Yes, I believe in that. And last night was this super powerful blue moon, so.
I'm really hoping it gets picked up because that sounds like an amazing premise.
Oh, yeah, I hope so too.
That sounds
I do.
really
I really
intriguing.
That would be between the two. I would go. That's the one of my. Yeah, that's the one I would just have the most fun with.
I have no idea what your writing day looks like because this sounds as if we're juggling this ball, you got this ball, and oh yeah, that's still up in the I mean, I have trouble enough focusing on one thing, and you have multiple series.
I'm a Gemini, and so that does help. It does. It's got that built-in, able to handle many, many different things. And honestly, I'm up. So I get up and I try to be at the desk at 8. I don't have an office, so it's like in our living room. And Christopher also works from home, so his office is in the bedroom. And so it's not like we have but there's not a lot of distractions that way.
Yeah.
And I don't listen to music or anything. When I'm in the story, I just really am in the story. And I go until I do my 20 pages. If I need to do more, I know it takes me how long, I need 5 hours to 6 hours to do the first 20 pages. I need 8 hours to do 30 pages. And so and because it's been so hot, I've been getting up earlier in the day and getting my walk in. And then I'm not actually, it puts my day a little bit later because then I'm not at my desk until 9.
Oh, you're not there till 9 o'clock. Most people do the 9 to 5. You're like, oh, okay. Like we're kind of doing more regular hours now.
It'll be 9 to 7 because that pushes it later at the end.
That's what I was thinking. Because you're working from home, there is no start and stop. It's just all one place.
So I know it sounds insane, but it truly works for us. And we take Sundays off, and we're not anywhere near the computer on Sundays, and so it does allow a refresh.
I think that's really nice though that you're both on the same page of this is how I'm gonna work, this is how you're gonna work over there, and you're both respecting the boundaries because that's not always the case when people are sharing the same house or apartment. Sometimes it's I'm gonna go make some noise now and I'm gonna interrupt your thought process and knock on your door.
We're very
Oh.
both, I think, respectful of that. And Christopher does. We have a writer services company called Community Authors.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so I do freelance editing, and Christopher is a writing coach, and he's got and he also is a writer. He writes thrillers, and so he has when he's doing the writing coaching, he will be on, that's usually like a 2-hour stint. And so, but like I said, I don't listen to music, and so it really is okay.
It's probably really helpful that he's also doing something creative because sometimes only creative people understand creative people. When you're going, this is my process, and someone else is going,
Yeah.
really? This is your process, or it only makes sense in this way? Okay.
Yeah. It works for us for sure. Like when we had when the pandemic came and everybody's like, oh, you got to stay at home now, and we're like, we're fine with that.
This is different.
This means we don't have to actually go out for, like, he had a Thursday night Panera's writing group, and so he was like able to move that to online, and they're not ever going to go back to Panera now. The online works out perfect. So
Like I can wear my pajamas and not have to actually get dressed in the house.
This is great.
I didn't realize that he was a creative person as well. I mean, I knew you were married, you'd reference the family, but I didn't know it was a creative family.
Yeah, he's super. He's like really, and I love because he writes the thrillers, which are a little bit darker.
Yeah.
I love reading dark. I don't write it. My agent calls it a happy little murder. That's what I write.
A happy little murder.
A happy little murder. And
I like that.
He'll we'll give kudos to Evan Marshall. He's pretty fabulous. But Christopher was watching like how to do a jump scare, which is really cool. There's like a process. There's a process to creating these, like the build up, and I can use that for tension.
Yeah.
So it's like something I was like, oh, okay, that's a different way to look at that, and incorporate it. You've got like the sound of something before the big boom.
Yeah.
So,
kind of nice that you can also bounce ideas off each other.
yes, he's super. He actually is so good. But you also have to be able to have the times where you're like, okay, no, this is not what I was, But also, we are very good about, okay, I need to.
Yeah.
walk away from that one. Don't take it personally.
So one of my questions that I love asking, and I think that this is a perfect question for you because you are so prolific, do you have a favorite character or scene that you've written?
Oh my gosh, I like them all. They're family. They're family. My
Like-
kids are like, which one of us is the favorite? I have a boy, I have a girl. You both are my favorite.
You're my favorite boy. You're my favorite daughter.
Yes, exactly. They've been trying to trick me with that forever. So no, I don't know. For me, I think when it was book 4 of the Scottish series, The Murder at a Scottish Wedding, when Grandpa finally got to see Craig, and Gran was in the room. I think that was like such a heartwarming moment.
Oh.
I just love that moment.
One of those, happy tears.
Yay.
I was going to say, for selection, that's a very good choice. I mean, you have plenty of stories and characters to choose from, clearly. But one of the other things I was wondering is, when you first started writing, is there something that you wish you knew that you're going, okay, today I know this, I wish I knew this back when I started?
I know. Okay, so it's just weird story is that when I was younger still, like I knew I always wanted to be a writer from the time that I was little. My mom has my very first story, Traci and her pet ant Blip, and it's with illustrations.
Yeah.
And so my aunt looks like a baked potato, but it has it was on lined paper, and it has a beginning and a middle and an end.
That's
And
so cute.
I just always knew I wanted to do it. When I became a mom, I wanted to also give my kids that really like all of me, and I know that when I'm writing, I can't really do that because I'm in that other world. So I have to very much separate. So when my kids were like before we moved to Florida, so like 0 to 8, I was going to school, like community college, and I was doing creative writing classes, and I was learning the language of how to be a writer, you know, like what an agent would want or what an editor would want. And then when we moved to Florida, I was able to write full time, and so I would write while the kids were at school. And I'm going to confess a really bad mom moment, but the school called. Luckily, my daughter was 17. And they're like, oh, you have to come get, our Destiny she's not feeling good. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to be right there. She walked home because like an hour later.
I was going to say, there was no I'll be right there, was there?
Yeah, that was a bad one. She holds that over my head, rightfully so. But she was honestly 17. She was able to manage it. But yeah.
You said you live right near the high school, too.
Yeah,
They
it
were
was
too far
fine.
away.
She was literally had to walk not even half a block actually. It was nothing. When I'm in that world, it's easy for me to just forget about everything.
I think that's also indicative of you enjoying the process and enjoying your characters, and that probably speaks to why readers enjoy them, because as the creator, if they make you happy, chances are they're going to make someone else happy.
I hope so. Oh gosh, I hope so. It's always just been my dream to be able to write stories that people like. It's been 20 years since I moved from, to Florida, so it's a long time. I am very fortunate. Yeah,
I love that. Is there something else about yourself or your books you want people to know, or something they might not know that you wish they did?
I just, the fact that you were able to pick up on how much I want people to care about them, because they're real people to me, and so to be able to get the comments and the feedback that they, that readers care too, means so much.
I can definitely see how they're real people to you, because the multidimensional depths that you portray on the page come across for all of the characters. And that is something that is very difficult for writers to accomplish once, let alone multiple books later. So the fact that this is something that you're able to do on a regular basis is just that is a skill set you should be very proud of.
No. Well, thank you very, very much.
I'm so honored that I got to chat with you.
This has been amazing and such a good kickoff.